Good evening, everybody. We just had dinner along the water up here, and it started raining cats and dogs. And then as we were sitting there looking out over the water, there was a rainbow that was just so distinct. And the amazing thing was on the left side of or underneath the rainbow, the left side of it was just light gray. And then to the right of the rainbow was just absolutely dark gray, just very unusual to see that. Just it was a double rainbow for a while. Now that was just about an hour ago. Right now we're sitting by the lake again, and it's about 72 degrees, and there's not a cloud in the sky anymore. Oh, I guess it's way over there. So, anyways, nice weather up here. So hope everybody's having a good evening. So this probably won't be very long tonight because there's really not a whole heck of a lot going on in this market. As we can see in the Dow, there is just absolutely no direction, and it's been that way pretty much now for, almost a year. We're trading right about the same level we were in the beginning of December. And especially over the last few months, as we can see, after that last run-up in February, it's just been absolutely sideways. So the only thing that, or not the only thing, one of the things that is showing us that this market's not really going in any great direction is even though that the Dow was down today, the NASDAQ was off a little bit, but basically came right back up above the T-line. So it's very slowly moving in this direction, which means there's really not that that major a movement. S&P 500, same scenario, just absolutely sideways. And then the transportation index, let's see, this thing is, there we go. The transportation index now showing a double bottom and starting to move back up. So this just kind of, you add all those indexes together, basically it's telling you they're not selling it off, they're not buying it. There's specific sectors moving up and other sectors moving down. So some of the commodities, for example, that's not what we want. Gold. Gold looks like it's ready to take another break to the downside. As we can see, it's moved down and moved sideways. Was either supposed to come up through the T-line, or now that it's starting to break down, you might have another magnitude of movement like that. Okay, you're just looking. Crude oil, been short this one for the last few days. And this is where you kind of observe the obvious. This is the type of thing that we try to train everybody's eye. Notice that there was a fry pan bottom, but there was also support here on the 50, up here at the $62 a barrel. And then when it broke down through this wedge formation and the 50, you can see what it's done at the T-line. Every time it's come up to the T-line, it's gotten another sell signal, which is what we saw a couple of days ago. Kind of that Barry's J-hook pattern, still heading down. So at one time when I think crude oil was at $115 a barrel or so, and people say, well, it could go back to 60, that seemed unheard of. Now we're down here in the $45 range, and it looks like it could even go lower. So that's the one major thing that I've learned about prices. They can always go where you don't think they could possibly go. This is cocoa. Cocoa will probably be shorted tomorrow. This is not good. Not receiving data. Cocoa as you can see, came up, failed at the 50 and the T-line, kind of a blue ice failure, making the 200-day moving average the next viable target. So you might want to keep an eye on shorting cocoa tomorrow, any of you that are trading some commodities. The dollar, you can see, is in a slow uptrend. And I think what this could illustrate is you've taken it up, took it down, took it up, took it only back to the 50 this time. So I would suspect the next move is now at the top of this channel, which would also mean it's breaking out through this level. So you can be buying this one. Just then watch to see what it does once it gets to this resistance level. I've been long cattle here for the last few days. Because notice what we had down here, that big morning star type signal with a gap up. Gapped up again today. Where do you think the next likely target is? Probably right up here to the moving averages. So if it gets here, where is it at? At a resistance level here from the moving averages, as well as a resistance level right here. Still stuck on oil. Okay. Okay, did it get unstuck? Cattle showing now. It might be the server up here. Okay. All right, we're back. What did I do in between cattle and oil? Oh, so that meant we missed out on the cocoa. Okay, cocoa. Which is that? You. All right, can you see cocoa now? Are we updating? Okay, good. So as you can see, there's a blue ice failure setting up on cocoa, and it failed up here at the T-line. Blue ice failures. The blue ice failures when they fall through the ice, which in this case was the support level of the 50. Then they come up and try to find the hole they fell through, and they can't find it, so they drowned, and they go to the next target, which is the bottom of the pond. So that's your next target to the downside. Let's see. I don't know whether. So as you can see, what happened down here again? There was that big morning star type signal on hogs, and hogs, as you see, hasn't been able to close back below the T-line. This is soybeans. You can see also the blue ice or the J-hook type failure here at the T-line. I'd be ready to short this if it comes back down through this level. It's trading up a little bit or down a little bit after hours. But if it breaks through this level, you've got wave 1, wave 2, heading for wave 3, which logically would be somewhere down here to fill this gap and probably test the lows. Oh, I don't know. Does anybody know what the ETF is for cocoa? And then so at the same time that soybeans are ready to be shorted, you can see what's happening in the wheat chart. Got some inverted hammer, and where is it doing all this? Right about at a support level right in here. Is NIB the cocoa sub-index? All right, yes, you could be shorting that. CHOC? Nope, probably not that one. Anyways, all right, so we can all see the cocoa chart now, right? Good, all right. Okay, so those are some of the commodities. I've got a star next to cocoa for a short. And I've got a star next to soybeans ready to short that one. Oh, coffee. That's right. Coffee was backing off a little bit today. We almost shorted it, and it stayed down here at the lower end of the range. Right now, I'm not long or short coffee because it's backed off. Now, I will start buying coffee if it comes back up through today's open, which tells me they're still trying to head up to the top of this channel again. Yeah, I think Joe is the ETF for coffee. Looks somewhat the same. Okay, some of the charts that are still acting well. PRTA has not been able to close back below the T line. It had this advanced methods rising signal, which is a big bullish day, and then notice for the next 3 days they brought it back indecisively, and they couldn't close it below the low of this candle. The next day they gapped it up and took it back up above that green candle. That's basically telling you the bulls are in control. The bears tried to knock it down. They couldn't knock it down below the open of this candle. The bulls got enthused again and came right back in, knowing that the bears could not knock it down. So you want to stay long on this one as long as it stays above the T line. Amazon is an example of that gap up message, and now it still looks like it's trying to climb back up. Notice that when it hit down here, basically was telling you the profit taking was over after this gap up. Let's see what this looks like on a longer chart. And it had broken out through this kind of resistance level off the 50-day moving average with a little flutter kicker signal, and then gapped up, I guess, from earnings. So once the profit taking is over, which is looking like it's trying to do, I would suspect you're still in a 45 degree on this one. ETSY, another one that looks like it's setting up for what I call a double doji. Had a big move breakout on the J hook, and notice the pullback. Actually, the pullback came right back to the T line. If this opens positive tomorrow, it starts trading positive, you want to start buying it immediately, because that means your double doji is like a doji sandwich. You may have another move like this, which if they do, that means they're closing above this level, that you're still in a very strong J hook pattern. And Apple, because I know a lot of people are following Apple, it had the opportunity to support at the 200, and it didn't. So ever since this is your island reversal, your gap up. Anytime you see a gap up in the overbought condition, start looking for your sell signal. Notice what happened the next day, a bearish engulfing signal. Then they gapped it down. I guess that was earnings. But notice what it did up here. Basically your island reversal, and where did it do it? Right smack dab at the last peak area where they started seeing sell signals. So right now on Apple, you just want to stay short until you see a buy signal. These are your strongest reversals, those little island reversals. What is the downside for Apple? I don't know. If I was going to look at it on the basis that it's trying to find a support level, to me, that's probably your support level down here in about the 212 area. Okay, now the strongest patterns that are working right now are the slow curves. We're still long DVAX. Notice our classic fry pan bottom, J-hook pattern, still working. Fold, J-hook pattern, nice breakout today. UEPS, kind of that slow curve, cup and handle, moving up nicely today. Kara, we recommended today because it had a nice little slow curve J-hook pattern coming out of this big fry pan bottom. So you got kind of the classic setup, did a doji, and ABEO right here at the 50 coming out of this slow curve. Still a very strong buy if it opens positive tomorrow because you'll have that doji sandwich. But one thing I want to illustrate to you, when we just look at these last 4 or 5 charts, notice what they all did in a market that looked like this. They were all trading positive today. So that's kind of a better or more clear illustration that the patterns, when you see them developing, and there's your signal on this one, PGTI, Morningstar signal, which started your uptrend of this fry pan bottom, it traded positive today. So there are quite a few of these patterns that that you kind of get the illustration of that when you see these slow curve or fry pan bottoms, they're usually still going to be fairly strong because something's affecting that fry pan bottom development other than what the market conditions are doing. And as Don is pointing out, they've all got earnings coming up here fairly soon. So a lot of people say, well, do you hold through earnings? And the answer is I hold based upon what the chart is telling me, because that is the cumulative knowledge of everybody buying and selling during a specific time frame. And we're seeing buying in these charts. FCSC is probably going to be recommended tomorrow because you can see the cup and handle, J-hook type patterns, classic. That's probably got another 2 points to the upside or another 20-25% to the upside. Kroger has been one that has got a good, oh, that's still a bad, if you disregard this day, which is a bad tick, you can see how it's a slow curve staying above the T-line. Bah humbug. And you can see what this chart has done over, oh, Shazam, what's going on here? Well, I was trying to illustrate the fact that this chart had a very long, steady eddy type pattern, went through a big consolidation, and notice where it's trading right now, right here at about the highs. So if you want something for longer term, Kroger is probably a good steady eddy. Yes, I wouldn't trade Kroger, but I would definitely buy it based on putting it in a portfolio and holding it for another 6, 8, 10 weeks, because it's remember, the Japanese rice traders say, let the market tell you what the market is doing. Market's telling us that Kroger is being bought, and it's got a nice steady movement to the upside. Here's EXEL, slow curve, J-hook pattern. This one can still be bought on positive trading tomorrow. And AAVL, we were short that one until it started to curl back up. Let me make this bigger. Let's see what type of pattern is it setting up. Kind of a scoop pattern. I wouldn't be afraid to be buying this one on positive trading tomorrow. So the point of showing all these charts is you can see they all have the patterns setting up, and they all traded positive today in a very lethargic market. So Boot, another good-looking chart. That has the possibility of moving up another 12 points from here, taking you into the $44 range. Also, another strong illustration of when they're taking out the sellers, things like this one, which is a big belt hold in CRL. That one I would be buying. I would suspect that not only are you in this uptrend, but the the trajectory of the uptrend is probably going to be a lot stronger, because essentially they've wiped out all the sellers that were in the way. And that was a recommendation or reason for our recent recommendation on AKAM. Notice what they did. On earnings, they showed some distrust or distaste for it on the open, but they came right back up into the trading range. So I would suspect at least this trajectory, and because they wiped out so many sellers, the trajectory may be a lot stronger. So also the type of things that we want to be looking for are the breakout setups. Here is ZFGN. You can see what type of pattern setup there is. Let me make this a little bit smaller, make it a little bit bigger. It's right from kind of here, you got this wedge formation. Oops, I think you can even hit it from almost over here. It's kind of a wedge formation. Notice what you've got. You've got your Morningstar signal. You've got your doji sandwich setup. And if you figure that tomorrow on a positive open, it can move the same magnitude as this, it's going to come right up here and test this level to see if they're going to break it out. So that's one that you want to keep on your list, even for a day trade. Opening here, likelihood going up here, the same magnitude as this candle right here. CNC, right at the breakout level. Got this slow curve. You can pretty much draw a line right down through here. If it opens positive, especially after this little inverted hammer, positive open and higher than today's close. Yes, just seeing that they're opening higher. Also, you've got this type of pattern, which we recommended, got into the options a few days ago on TMUS, because notice what it did just to start the uptrend. Doji gap up, your best friend. Next day, they gapped it through the resistance level. In another case where you could pretty much draw that trend line right down through the tops, gapped up through that level. So what type of pattern do you have? After a relatively flat trading, you got the scoop pattern, which tells us the slingshot effect could probably be about the same magnitude as this over here. So that makes VNDA another scoop pattern with a gap up. This one I wouldn't be afraid to be buying on positive trading, with the anticipation of another move like this taking you up into about the 1550 area. And ECHO, you can see the handle, you can see the scoop part, and if this opens positive tomorrow with another midday like this, that's taking you up into this area, pushing right on the top of that resistance. When you say they being the market in general. They being the generic market. And here's the finish line. Also, that handle, there's a resistance level, there's your kind of your scoop pattern and your breakout into new territory. So a few others that look pretty good. AMCC, anytime you see this happen where they take it down and then they take it right back up, that means whatever was here changed, the investor sentiment changed dramatically. This one's pretty strong to buy on positive trading, telling you that the 50 is not acting as resistance. There's your first target, is this gap area. And I wouldn't be surprised if they don't come up and test the Test that area. I think the one before Echo was VDNA or VNDA. Scoop type pattern starting with your best friend gap up. INGN, same scenario. Notice your downtrend resistance level, your hammer, doji, gap up, and another doji. Makes this for a very strong prospect of, if it opens positive, you're going to have a doji sandwich, which means there's going to be more upside. That's INGN. You'll probably see that one on the recommended list for tomorrow. And this is exactly what you want to see once a price gaps up. What are they doing the next day? Well, there's some profit taking, and now this tells you the profit taking's over. There's your next target. And why is it a strong move? Because they did a doji gap up, your best friend. JetBlue, there's your J-hook pattern. After your left-right combo, doji, 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 and then they told you what they're going to do after that indecision. They're still taking this one up. There's wave 1. Wave 3 should take you up into the, probably about the $28 range. Oh, this is after earnings? Okay. Well, a lot of, remember, because this is the accumulative knowledge of everybody buying and selling, a lot of times you see tremendous earnings and they sell the stock off, or you see lousy earnings and they take it up. Whatever happens, the chart is going to tell you what the anticipation was and what the results were and whether they're buyers or seller. Here's EROS, J-hook pattern in the making. MOH, there's your best friend. Gap up through the resistance level. This is wave 1. Look for wave 3, probably to come up into about the 80, probably $82 to $85 area. And NHTC, this is an example of your best friend. You're in a bobble. Notice they haven't been able to close it below the T-line. You can be still buying this one on positive trading aggressively. You can buy it here, and or less aggressively if it comes up through the 50. Your J-hook bobble breakout, probably telling you they're taking it back up to the recent highs. And CVC was one where you had that big move. There's your fry pan bottom. There's your consolidation. Here's kind of your morning star signal. This one you just want to stay long until you see a sell signal. So this was kind of illustrating that even though this market is very lethargic, there are still chart patterns that are still going to work well. And out of my universe of 2,700 stocks, which are stocks trading greater than $5 and trading more than 200,000 shares a day, out of 2,700 of those stocks, you're always going to find 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 8, 10, 12 stocks that are always going to work well. So with that, is there any general questions on candlesticks? Any shorts? I haven't done any shorts recently. We had been short Monsanto, and it's never been able to close back up above the T-line. TLDM, whoops, FLDM. Staying short on this one because there's this dumpling top. This one can still be shorted on any weakness tomorrow, especially if it comes back down through today's low. All right, with that, Jim, go ahead and do the double line. All right, Jim, you missed the double line. Go ahead and do the second double line. All right, we just need to stop the, how long does a candlestick stay valid, or what would negate a signal? Very simple. If you see a candlestick buy signal, and let me figure out what a candlestick buy signal is right now. ZFGN. Let's say this is my candlestick buy signal, and I'm planning to buy this on positive trading tomorrow, and it opens positive and I buy it. Very simple logic. The Japanese rice traders say if they could close it back down below the halfway point of the candle that told us the bulls were in control, that means the bears are still in control. And or if it closes back below the T-line. A very simple analysis is if we see a candlestick buy signal and a close above the T-line, we know we're in an uptrend until we see a candlestick sell signal and a close back below the T-line. So a signal will stay valid. Again, see a candlestick buy signal and a close above the T-line. It stays valid as long as it doesn't close back below the T-line, or very simple, using the T-line as your trend indicator. The further away you move from the T-line, the higher the probability it's going to come back and test it. Okay, we'll try to scoot through some of these real quick. Blue, there's your left-right combo. Very simple. If it opens positive tomorrow, more than likely it's going up here to the 50. If it opens and closes or trades back below today's low or the T-line and closes below the halfway point of that candle, you're back out of it. Yahoo, thank you. Whoops, did I do price line? Priceline did kind of a hanging man doji, but more as a doji because it's an indecisive day. Notice your stochastics aren't in the overbought, definitely not in the oversold, and definitely not moving in any great direction right now, which means it makes it very simple. If you open, or if you see it open positive, more than likely it's breaking out on J-hook. You stay long on this one. Okay. ConocoPhillips, you stay short. Notice how it failed again at the T-line. PYPL. Oops. PayPal. You just stay long. Notice how it did kind of a trend kicker today. If it opens positive, they're still taking it up. United Technologies, whoops. Stay short until you see a buy signal and a close above the T-line. Remember, those big gap downs, it wasn't in the oversold area when they gapped it down, which means it's in a downtrend until they can close it above the T-line. Valero, it has to get back up above the T-line. If it opens lower tomorrow, I'd close it out. AT&T, whoops. AT&T, I just wouldn't be long or short this one. There is no trend to it, and it's such even a stodgy institutional trader. There's just not enough room to make any money on this one. I wouldn't be trading long or short this one. There's much better places to have your money. Loco, needed to see a buy signal and a close above the T-line. They're still having a hard time doing that, trying to break this downtrending channel. Another one that I wouldn't be long or short right now because it's trying to base, but there's no buying yet. I'd be someplace else. FCX. Oh, is that the Canadian Dollar Trust? Still heading down on the bearish J-hook pattern. And SU is at Suncor. That one needs to open positive. If it opens lower tomorrow, they're bringing it back to the T-line. It has to stay above the T-line to stay in it. AMBA, not anything yet. You stay out. G-Pro has a little bit stronger chart. You can stay with this as long as it doesn't close below the T-line. Netflix, again, you stay long on this one as long as it stays above the T-line. Facebook's having a hard time getting out of its own way. You should be out of this one right now. You don't know whether they're going to drift this one sideways all the way back to the 50-day moving average. I wouldn't be long. I'd probably be more apt to be short Facebook at this point. Buffalo Wings, just stay long. I told you after the day of profit taking which way they were taking it. You're still in a 45-degree on this one. SWKS, stay short. You had your big left-right combo right here at the 50. They're taking it down to the 200-day moving average. This one's got a nice morning or a cradle pattern. You can still be buying this one on positive trading. You had a cradle pattern confirmed with a gap up, coming up at least to the moving averages, and see what it does at that point. TRVN, inverted hammer. You can be buying this one. You just have to be aware it's got a lot of junk area to get through to break out into new territory. So I'd be cautious of what it does at the $7 range. QLYS, right now, as you can see, it's kind of got that inverted cradle or a dumpling top with a dimple in it. I'd be ready to go short on this one, especially if it came back down through today's low, which was about the same level as it's supported here. But you can see you've got kind of a bearish a dumpling top with the dimple there on the to the upside. Yes, so go short on weakness on this one. Mobley had a hard time breaking out. If this one opens lower, they're still taking it lower. They're just having a hard time getting any movement on this one. And now you've got kind of a bearish belt hold type signal. HealthNet, that's a nice little slow curve. Doji sandwich, let's make this bigger. You've got the doji sandwich. You've got the slow curve. You got kind of this little wedge formation. That's telling me you might have a slingshot effect heading to the upside. CB, stay long. At this point, I would probably use today's open as my stop. If it came back down through there, you definitely want to be out of that position. Duke Energy, nice little gap up, getting ready to break out through this trend channel. You stay long on this one if you like Duke. Joy, stay short. Nothing there until you see it close above the T-line. Tata Motors. Let's take a bigger look at this. As you can see, every time they open this stock, they take it down. They open it higher, take it down. There's not anything telling you there's any confirmed buying on this. Another one that I'd probably be sitting someplace else right now. AKS, doing the little bobble. You had your strong signal, the breakout. It's pulled back without any real signal to the T-line. I'd be ready to buy this one on positive trading tomorrow. Under Armour. Oops, Under Armour. has to stay above the T line to stay in that 45 degree. VLTC, I'd be out of this one. This one now does not have any direction to it. SPWH, this one has to get up above the T line to go after it. Right now I wouldn't be long or short, but I'd be prepared to buy this if it came back up through today's open. Telling you they've come up through the T line. ANAC also has to stay up above the T line to keep in that 45 degree. And ATMN should be out of this one. Came back down below the T line. That one you should be out of and possibly even going short. Whoops. CVX, stay short on this one. There's your doji gap down. Nothing to tell you that that if you went long here, you should definitely have been back out on the doji gap down, because that told you they weren't breaking out of that downward trend channel. Lowe's, you can own this one, but it has to trade positive. You don't want to see this come back down through the T line. And just be aware that your magnitude of return isn't going to be all that tremendous. CVS, just stay long. Coach, stay short. Especially, you can go short on this one, especially if they open it lower tomorrow after the doji gap down. If they open it lower, they're still selling it off. Price still down here, at least a few more points to the lower trend channel. And LRCX, I'd be ready to go short again on this one. Notice how it came up to the 50 and failed. Left-right combo. I would suspect at least they're coming back down to test the lower trend channel. We had the Canadian dollar. I forget what the symbol was. BA. RRC, stay short. AMBA, we did. Nothing there yet. Sam, stay. You shouldn't be in this one yet. It's probably now drifting back to the 50-day moving average. Sam, your uncle Lou and Aunt Laura is here, and we just had a nice dinner. GDX, gold. Here's what the gold chart looks like. Whoops. Well. Gold looks like it's failed the T-line, getting ready for the next move to the downside. SBUX, just stay long as it doesn't close below the T-line. We did G-Pro. We did all of those. XLE. Probably had to wake you up, didn't we, Jim? XLE, another one where you stay short till you see a buy signal. Freeport, stay short. It's got that slow curve, still heading down. Microsoft, just don't like to trade this because it doesn't move around enough. And even with that chart, unless they can break out into new territory, I probably wouldn't be long or short this one. And FIVN, nothing yet. Really hasn't had a reversal signal. That's not a bullish harami. It's not anything. That's just an up day and a downtrend, which means I would probably be trading something else that has a clear signal to it. I wouldn't be trading this one right now. MGI, Figure it's got a 45-degree continuing in the uptrend. Abercrombie, stay short. We're right here at the support level with a failure of the T-line. I'd be ready to short this one on any weakness. That's going to get a little star next to it. Yes, so I'd short that on any weakness, Don. Oh, no, that was James. FLDM has earnings coming on the 6th, all right? AEM, stay short. Telling you, obviously, that the T-line's acting as resistance. RCAP, as long as it stays above the T-line, you stay with it. If it opens lower and starts trading, especially down through today's low, I'd close it out. That's pretty much telling you the downtrend trajectory is still in progress. And Caterpillar, notice it did an evening start, failing at the T-line. So a lot of people ask, all right, what should we do here after a big down move? Watch to see what it does once it gets to the T-line. If it fails, if you bought here, you should be right back out again. We did AKS, TSN, TSN. You can be shorting this one if it opens lower tomorrow after that big gap down. Dust, is that the bearish one? Yes, you can be going long on this one. That's the bear fund. That's kind of indicating that oil is heading down further. Masco, just stay long, but I would use today's low as a stop. If it comes back through there, it's coming back to test the 50 and probably the T-line at that point. JP Morgan probably wouldn't be long or short. It's in the wedge going sideways. I think we did LVTC. This one you should have been out of today. And Whiting, like all the oils, is still being thrown out with the bathwater. At this point, you shouldn't be in it on a trade basis. On a long-term basis, you should have probably been out when it came back down through the 50 over here. And then just get ready to buy when you see oil start supporting. Oil's down at $45 a barrel. Just 6 months after it was at $100 a barrel, and nobody thought it could go down again. SRPT, just stay long right now, or you can be buying this one on positive trading. FIT, stay long on this one, especially if it opens positive, doing a doji sandwich tomorrow. DPLO, there's your doji sandwich. J-Hook, you can be buying this one on positive trading tomorrow, but don't let it close back below the T-line. ABEO, we did. That one has got the slow curve. You can be buying this one on positive trading tomorrow, telling you that it broke out through the 50, doing a doji sandwich to get there out of this slow curve. And DVAX, you can also be buying this one. Whoops, DVAX. Your J-hook pattern in progress. FXC, whoops. Oh, that's the Canadian dollar, still heading down. And that's mainly because the U.S. dollar is still kind of heading up. ALK, J-hook pattern. Notice what it's done ever since it broke out to this level. Broke out, Strong move, J-hook pattern, gap up through the high trading of before. More than likely got much more upside. And Charter, you can stay long on this one, but obviously it has to get back up through the recent highs to make that J-hook pattern continue. U.S. Steel, stay long on this one. You had the piercing signal, gap up through the downtrending channel. At least your next likely target is going to be at the 50-day moving average. Buffalo Wings is going to the T-line. Not yet. You're probably in a 45 degree. I would stay long as it doesn't close back below this candle that told me the bulls were coming back in. And HZNP should be out of this one. It's probably coming back to the 50, but you don't know if it's going to start back up. I'd be out of this one right now. In BGC, nothing here yet. It needed a buy signal and the close above the T-line. If it probably wouldn't be long or wouldn't be short because I would have covered my short positions on this day, but I'd be ready to go short again on weakness tomorrow, which would tell you you've got a bearish J-hook pattern that was showing evidence of that when it failed the T-line. HOTR, nothing here. It wouldn't be long or short. There's no direction. Jets, that one's not working. CLG, you should be short on this one, or you should not be long. And Guild, after that doji gap up message, you can stay long on this one. And VITC, that one is not found. VITC. That VLTC, you should be out of this one today with it closing back below the T-line. AMC, this one you can be buying on positive trading. It's not a very exciting mover, but it's moving in the right direction. J-Bill needs to stay up above the T-line to stay in it. Got an evening star signal. If it opens lower, that means this was just a bounce in the J-hook, bearish J-hook pattern. Skechers, 45 degree coming off of here. I think we did PayPal. You stay long on this one. Boston Scientific, stay short. It's probably drifting down until it comes to the T-line. And one more, HUS. This one you can be buying on positive trading after the slow curve breakout. Notice your doji best friend gap up. What do you mean by a 45 degree? Usually after a big move, they'll kind of have a steady 45 degree and you just stay long as it stays above the T-line. And DSX, nothing exciting here. Starting to see bullish signs, but I wouldn't buy it until it comes back up through the T-line. Okay, once again, we're in the doldrums of the summer, and we're in a market that has been in the doldrums ever since months and months ago. So the only thing that you can do is not get discouraged. Just be a lot more pinpointing of the charts, or using the charts that show the actual patterns that are working. So with that, everybody have a good evening. We will see you bright and early in the chat room tomorrow. We'll see you then.